Annie, hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I ask every time I do these chats, my first question, I'm always lost on what the first question should be, and it always is just how are you feeling? Because it's always a big day the next day.
It's a big day, but there's been so many big days through this entire thing, so it's just another big day. But I actually feel really good. I had such a great experience, and I would have, of course, loved to last longer and all the things, but it was such a cool thing to be a part of. So I actually feel really good today.
Well, I mean, so I always know, like, living the Survivor experience while you're out there versus watching it on television are two very different things. So, I mean, there were only like these two episodes, but of the two, really this episode, was there anything that you were maybe surprised by that you watched that you didn't know, or that you were taken aback by?
I didn't expect that my tribe was kind of talking so nasty about me behind my back. I really didn't know. I mean, I think it's part of the show. Everybody, has people say things about them that they don't expect or that they're like people perceive me this way. But I think with me, I didn't know that I knew they thought I was bossy. The thing is, here's the thing. I'm a CEO. I've run a band. Bossiness is built into me. It's in my DNA. I like to make decisions. I like to make things happen. They perceived it as I'm trying to boss them around. And it was not that. It was so much coming from a place of love and wanting to help the tribe. And I spent all day on the first day building the shelter and then subsequent days just searching for food all the time. I was not searching for idols. I was 100% trying to do stuff to help our tribe. And so the way it was kind of cut, it looked like, oh, these guys are just kind of rolling their eyes and oh my God, there's Annie just trying to boss us around again. And so it kind of hurt a little bit, but at the end of the day, we're good. And it was a game, and all of that is just, it's gameplay. And it's people who didn't know me. Now we know
Yeah.
each other in real life and everything is fine. But yeah, it's always hard to watch that kind of thing and not know that people are saying stuff about you.
Does it make you like, think about, I mean, in the real world, how people perceive you? It must, I assume, right?
I don't think anybody can come back from this fully, I don't know, not having some of those struggles in their head. I came back certainly thinking, oh my God, does nobody like me in the real world? And they just tell me that and then they really are just talking, crap behind my back about my bossiness and my purple hair and my this and my that and all these things that people, tribe mates or people in the world say online, all these horrible comments. So you start to question everything. I think it makes you question everything. But on the flip side of that, you also kind of learn to be okay with it and be comfortable with yourself. And if I have a lot of faults, but one thing I am is pretty true to myself and pretty authentic and genuine. And I went out there and I was still me, and it didn't work very well in this tribe. But not to say that it wouldn't have worked okay in another tribe, another season. So I'm
Yeah.
okay.
So where, like looking back then and considering all of that, where do you think things went south?
There were I didn't recognize, and I should have, but I didn't recognize that the alliance between Sophie and Jake was so strong. I really thought that Alex and I were good because he was my number one, and I tried to hit him up on day one and say, hey, let's do this thing, but let's now split and not talk to each other ever again, other than like maybe occasionally, touch base and make sure our votes are aligned. But let's pretend like we don't even, hardly know each other. Now you go get your sort of fake number one, I'll go get my sort of fake number one, and then we can kind of control things from the inside. So in theory, again, different tribe, different season, that whole strategy might have worked okay. In this tribe this season, I woke up in the middle of the night one night at 2 in the morning and I see Jake and Sophie sitting right next to each other talking for like an hour very intimately. And I'm like, ooh, this is not good. This is not good at all. And so I remember telling Alex the next morning, I'm like, we got to split the two of them up. And he said, I know, I've seen some of it too. And so I think had I been a little bit more cognizant of what was going on with the two of them earlier, I think I might have been able to get ahead of it. I don't know, maybe not. It's you can play the what if game for, eternity. But yeah, I think as far as like kind of what would I have done differently or where was my misread? I think that there were kind of four people that were working together that were a little stronger than I thought any of them were.
Yeah. And so like in terms of, I mean, the big thing with I guess you guys' tribe was the puzzles and not doing very well at that. So what do you make of, because it does seem in past few years of Survivor there's that one tribe that just dominates tribal every single time, like the beginning of the season, every single season. So, like, what do you think was wrong with y'all's tribe in terms of figuring out some of the challenges?
I don't I don't know if I can put my finger on it, but our puzzle situation, we all sat down on the beach the very first day and said, "Okay, who's good at what?" And I said, not it on the puzzles. Happy to give it a go. And actually, in hindsight, maybe I would have been better on the puzzle than maybe we needed to put me on the puzzle. But I'm not somebody that goes home and builds 3D puzzles and puts everything together, or even I'm not a super fan of Survivor, so I don't even know all of the things that they can throw at you on the puzzle side. So I felt like the people who volunteered for puzzles probably know what they're doing. And so ultimately the puzzles were just our downfall. I mean, you saw it. We were ahead by 7 or 8 minutes on that challenge and we still lost it and lost it bad, on
Oh,
the puzzle. So that was why I wanted to vote Sophie because I thought, God, we have to win. And physically, she's kind of she'll be the first to tell you that's not her strength. She's very good socially, but physically, that's not the thing she's contributing.
mhm.
So I thought we got to let her go so that we can try to win a challenge. So that was my thought process. It ultimately she had a strong enough alliance where it didn't matter how the performance and the challenges turned out. But yeah, we were. It does feel like every season. I kind of miss the old days of two tribes
Mm,
because you have a little more to work with there. We were just knives out from go because we lost everything. We
yeah.
lost the Maroon Challenge. We lost the fight for supplies. We lost every single thing we tried to do. And
Mhm.
it just becomes very hard to keep a tribe together when you're losing that much that soon in a
Yeah.
tribe of 26 people.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, so like considering like you said you're not a super fan, like how is that being amongst a cast that are just I mean most are super fans. So like how do you kind of navigate your approach to the game?
Well, clearly, I'm not the one to ask, right? Because here I sit on day two. My approach to the game was not good, but I do think that I've been watching Survivor since the beginning. I've probably seen most, if not all, of the seasons, kind of non-sequential order, like put it on during dinner, kind of a thing. And I love the show. I think I went into it playing a little bit of old school Survivor, where I'm going to go in and work super hard around camp and build shelter and find food and do all this and be contributing in that way. And
Mhm.
I misjudged that people don't really care about that so much anymore. Maybe certain tribes, certain seasons, they do. But I think my tribe, my season, it was so socially based that I would have been better served, foregoing any of the physical stuff and just hanging out with my tribe the entirety of the time to make sure I was privy to all those conversations. So
Yeah. 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 Well, and so I guess looking back on everything then, like I'm sure you're happy about your time on Survivor, but what is there something that, you that happened out there or a relationship that happened out there, a bond that happened out there that maybe you hold like dear to yourself, like you look back on and you're like that was good?
there were a lot of moments, I will say, because there's thousands of hours and they can't
Yeah.
show everything that's going on behind the scenes. But we had some really fun times out there too. I mean, there was a lot of time spent sort of laughing as a tribe and getting to know each other and stuff that they can't or don't show because there were too many swear words in our conversations and things like that.
Yeah.
But we had fun together. Jeremiah and I were trekking around looking for food and sharing poop stories about how horrible things were trying to aqua dump and all this stuff. There was a lot of that. And I will say that Nicole, I didn't really know her very well because we were sort of ships in the night on our tribe. And since the game, I've gotten to know her, and I am so happy that she's part of my life now. And this whole cast, I mean, I'm building relationships with these guys in the real world now, and it's just such a cool thing.
That's
So
lovely.
I am happy to have been able to bring that back, regardless of what happened on the island, because I don't fault anybody for anything they said or did in that game. It's a game, and you got
Yeah.
to do whatever you can to stay alive. So as long as you can sort of separate gameplay with real life, I don't see how any of us couldn't come away from this experience and just think it was like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my last question then for you is there anybody you're rooting for? Any tribe you're rooting for?
I mean, well, on my tribe, so I'd had a little bit of tribe envy for Yellow, right? Because Yellow is just so dominating in everything they do. And holy crap, Jason and MC it's so cool that they got put in as alternates because they are amazing players. They made that they made that tribe really, really strong, and it's been very cool to see their performance. So I just love them from the fact that they didn't know they were going to even be on the show until 12 hours before.
Hmm.
But on my personal tribe, I'm really rooting for Alex because I know he had to turn on me at the last minute. It was the right thing for his game, and I feel like his hand was a little bit forced. He couldn't really vote with me because as we now know, Jake and Sophie have a very strong alliance, and then Sophie and Jeremiah have something going on too. So it would have been the two of us versus the three of them, and that just doesn't end up playing well for his game. So
Yeah.
he made the right decision. I have no faults, no hard feelings at him about it, and I hope he does really well.
Wonderful. Well, it was so lovely chatting with you. Thank you again.
So much. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course. Have a great one. Take care.
Thank you.